President Biden spoke at the Port of Los Angeles the other day and addressed the issue foremost on the minds of Americans: inflation. And in the spirit of a tried and true liberal, he blamed everyone in the world for a problem that is his responsibility as President of the United States of America. Apparently, our president believes that Vladimir Putin is running America.
But we've never seen anything like Putin's tax on both food and gas. Putin's price hike is hitting America hard.
We've never seen anything like Putin's tax on food and gas, the president said. Our president said. Putin's price hike is hitting America hard, his whining continued.
I'm doing everything in my power to blunt Putin's price hike and bring down the cost of gas and food.
In another quote, I'm doing everything in my power to blunt Putin's price hike and bring down the price of food and gas. Sniff, sniff. Speaking on CNN, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen showed she had at least a little more integrity than her boss by admitting that inflation situation was mismanaged and she was wrong about what was happening. She said, end quote, I think I was wrong about the path that inflation would take, referring to her observations from last year that escalating inflation was a small risk, she said, and wouldn't be a problem. Who are these people, and how did they get such power to control so much of our daily lives? The president is now trying to convince us that it is Moscow that controls our ports, our supply chain, all foreign shippers, and that high gas prices are the result of the Ukrainian war and, of course, greedy American oil companies. He said it. He said one thing I want to say about the oil companies. They have 9,000 permits to drill. They're not drilling. Why aren't they drilling? Because they make more money not producing more oil. The price goes up. Such is the result of 40 years in D.C. politics. Our president demonstrates that his understanding of economics is less than a college freshman. Oil markets are global and competitive. No one company, even the huge company like ExxonMobil, who he's now blaming, no one company controls the market. Even the biggest company is just one participant in a competitive market. Now, unless our president wants to argue that American oil producers are a cartel, like OPEC, that controls about 40% of the total world oil production, no one company causes the price to move. Every oil company is a price taker, not a price maker. Whatever the price is, oil companies will produce and sell as much as they can to maximize their current revenues. To suggest otherwise is dishonest, or it's just pure economic ignorance. Unfortunately, the late, great Nobel Prize-winning economist Milton Friedman, who explained the causes of inflation, has been washed away in today's woke culture. Friedman's famous observation was that inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, in the sense that inflation is and can be produced only by a rapid increase in the quantity of money than in output. Meaning, the more money a government prints that outpaces production, prices will go up. Friedman's unpopular with liberals because once it is understood that inflation is the result of government printing excessive amounts of money, we understand that inflation can only be caused by government, because only government can print money. A couple of today's economists, Steve Hanke and John Greenwood, they're looking at this rate at which Biden's government has been printing money, and they wrote in the Wall Street Journal in July 2021, by the end of the year, they said, the year-over-year inflation will be at least 6% and possibly as high as 9%. That was a year ago. Clearly, they were right on target. Responding to Biden's recent explanations about inflation, Hank and Greenwood point out, end quote, China, Japan, and Switzerland also face elevated oil prices, supply chain problems, and fallout from the war in Ukraine. But their annual inflation rates are 2.1%, 2.3%, and 2.5% respectively. They have avoided the ravages of inflation because their central banks have not produced excessive quantities of money, end quote. One thing we Americans can be grateful for as we navigate and struggle through Biden's, not Putin's, inflation is that Biden and the Democrats in Congress failed in their Build Back Better plan to layer another $5 trillion in new government expenditures into our economy. And we can also be grateful that November will be here very soon and we can stop this madness.